Hello and welcome back to a tractor video. This is the dash or the instrument panel for the tractor. Now the outside has already been repainted by the previous owner. He applied it with a roller. Doesn't look too bad, so I'm leaving that. There's a couple of runs here, but this part faces down, so I don't really see that. It did have some cracks here, so this is my handiwork. I got a little plate riveted to the existing one, drilled a hole. Over here was completely missing, so again it cracked until here. Little hole will stop the crack spreading, and then again riveted a bit of metal in there, so that will hold fine. It's not too pretty, but you don't see it because this is the bottom. Now the previous owner did not paint the inside, so I had to clean out the inside and just give that a spray paint coat. Again, it's not a beauty prize, but it will protect it. The back panel was painted black. I didn't really like that, so I just painted it red, which will do fine for me. So the throttle rod I also took apart and painted. It should be chrome, and the original one should be chrome. I do not have chroming facilities, and the chrome spray paint that you can get I saw was mostly for interior work, and it would wipe off easily as well as not be water resistant, so that didn't work. So I painted it silver. It's better than what it was, and because the new throttle rod is 30 euros, this rod here has to come into this hole because you want the throttle that comes right next to the steering wheel, which comes up through here. So I have to mount that first, easier now, before you mount the whole dash, and then we can start on the fun project of wiring. Here's a bit of an update. I haven't really been filming much, but the dash is in. It's really quite tight to film, so we got the water temperature gauge in there, the amp gauge, and the oil pressure gauge. Also got the new steering shaft grommet here, the new collar. We had a bit of a fight getting things into place, so I found the easiest way was to actually stick your hand through where the tractor meter would go, and then you can reach most places. It's good if you have a small hands with that. Put the throttle shaft in as well. We do need to still tighten or secure some of the wiring with some cable ties so that none of the wires come into contact with the throttle shaft. The throttle shaft also gave me a bit of a problem. At first it was hitting, this bolt was hitting onto the bolt holding the steering box, so I had to actually modify this with a nice thick rubber, or to push it up a bit to clear that bolt, but it worked out. The horn is here, not connected yet. I've put in the light. This used to be the indicator switch, but I've changed that for the light for the alternator. Key switch I had to modify slightly because the new key switches, the shaft is actually slightly thinner than the old one, so the hole is actually too big for the shaft. So I had to grind away a little bit further so it would stick out a bit more, and that way it would work. But as such, I had to use a washer. This is the indication of the key switch position plate, but I turned it around because the old plate, or the one that I had bought, is actually for the one with the generator, so it's got with the all different key positions to the switch with the alternator. So I just have to write it myself. The amp meter is connected, even though we got an alternator, just so there's not an empty spot here. Should work. Then this throttle shaft has been modified. So what I learned was that originally it would have a spring here at the top with a little cone to push up that should act as a grommet or some kind of bushing so that the shaft does not wear out against the housing as is done. So I don't have that because they modified it and welded it all there. So I put this rubber sleeve in a bit of pipe. Proper grommet would be better, but it works. Doesn't make a squeaking noise, but that's okay. So here's the horn button. The original horn button is incorporated into the light switch, but the new light switch does not have that. So this is just a simple button. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. The horn is over here, so maybe here. What do you think? And then the hose I put on, the hose that you buy is actually a lot longer. It doesn't fit here. I don't know if this is a French model thing, but I think normal hose would fit in between here without this part. A little bit difficult, but I got that sorted out. So the battery tray part is connected, just bolted in on this side. Over here we still need to put the fuel tank and then some rubber dampers that I can make from a piece of rubber. These are Imperial bolts, UNF 5/16, I think. Don't have those, and to buy just 2 bolts would work out pretty expensive with the postage, because here you can't really go to a bolt shop and find Imperial bolts. So I re-threaded the threads to be M8 metric, and I got some bolts that look the part. Then we fitted the alternator. So that is one thing with the water pump. Yeah, you have to take this bolt back out and then put the adjustment. So part of the kit you only get this short piece, so you still need your original bracket. You do get a bracket to fit to the engine right over there, but you don't get the bolts to mount the alternator to the bracket, because so again I had to be a bit creative. So I found one bolt, so to come say head to bolt, and another bolt was the original length. Pulley is from the original generator, as the pulley that came on it was slightly too narrow for the belt. So this is a new belt. The original belt was slightly too short. I couldn't fit it into place to stretch it. This should be fine. I did put that hose on there as well. Here's the other hose. This is not tight yet. It's just pointing down, so dust doesn't go in there. So I changed the oil in the injection pump. There's a video on that. I also changed all of the tie rod ends, front and back. I did not film that. It's pretty tricky. I found with this one, just trying to bang it to loosen it off, forcing a bit in between here whilst trying to hold the arm. You could also try a pickle fork, ball joint splitter. It didn't work for me. The pickle fork did work at the front. So those have all been changed. They are now nice and tight. These are not greasable, but they should last a long time. Also the toolbox, I just had this big split pin. I thought I just put that in there. Just a bit of filling. So I also put the data plates. I riveted those back on this side and the other side. They are in French because this is a French tractor. So then here at the back I put these back on, and I also changed the grease fittings. They are Imperial 1/8 or something. I don't know. I bought a kit off of Amazon that had both Imperial and metric grease fittings, as again harder to find here in France. And the yellow caps, I still had those. So I think because of all the Tyrols don't have any grease fittings, the amount of grease fittings has reduced significantly. So this is for the battery. That connects to the starter over here. That goes to the heat plug. The key gas reservoir would sit here and go to a pump. The pump is currently in pieces to clean out and see if I can rebuild it. The reservoir here is a bit holy at the bottom, so might have to see if I can seal it or find some other type of tank. And then this one is for there, as the original clips are broken off. We got the wiring for the neutral position switch. So we're getting there. Alright, thanks for watching this update, and I'll see you all on the next part.